Hey there Cosmic Warriors, and welcome back to another video. Okay, so in today's video we're going to be taking a look at the 5 things that you need to know about this full moon in Virgo taking place on the 18th of March 2022. However, before we do dive into this information today, well, I want to know, what are some other things that you think others need to know about this full moon in Virgo? I, of course, we'll be talking about 5, but I'm sure there are plenty more things. Yes, let us know in the comment section down below. Though on that note, I do hope that you find this video to be helpful and useful. All right, let's do this. Okay, so the first thing that you need to know about this full moon in Virgo taking place on the 18th of March 2022 is that it will oppose the sun in Pisces at 27 degrees, creating the number 9 in numerological terms. So here we are once again with another 27 degree full moon, another number 9 full moon. We're seeing these patterns here when it comes to these full moons. But of course it is 9, just as a reminder, that represents things like completion, spirituality, transformation, compassion, empathy, wisdom, and letting go, and so on. Which again, this energy goes hand in hand with the full moon because full moons represent similar things. It's a time to breathe out and to shed old skin with the intention of embracing new beginnings. And so, with the full moon being in Virgo, we are shining a light on things like cleanliness, hygiene, organization, systems, routines, perfectionism, efficiency, corrections, fixing, editing, mending. We are taking some time to breathe out when it comes to these things. Not to mention, we are shedding old skin when it comes to things like our health and when it comes to our daily practices, when it comes to our daily rituals. Now, as someone who has a Virgo rising, as well as Jupiter in Virgo conjunct my Virgo rising, I really like to embrace the full moon and new moon, the full moons and new moons in Virgo. I actually quite like it when loads of planets, they move into Virgo and create a Virgo stellium. This is partly because I feel a greater push to get my work done and to execute my daily tasks. I just feel more productive during these times. However, with this being a full moon in Virgo, this is about letting go, right? Breathing out, like I said, and possibly closing a chapter, especially given that we are in Pisces season. And Pisces season brings about renewal, release. It is a great time to experience inner peace and to experience stillness. During Pisces season, we may feel a stronger need to escape and to go into seclusion, to go inward really. And we may feel a need to recharge our batteries. We may feel this stronger urge to recharge our batteries more often. Yet, Virgo, on the other hand, Virgo is the type of energy that says, I have things to do. I have chores I must attend to. I have errands I gotta run. I have all of these external things needing my attention. And so perhaps you can see how these signs can clash. Okay, they can clash with one another. Just yesterday, actually, I was creating the script for this very video that I'm recording. And I wanted so badly to relax on the sofa and just to take it easy, just to have a chilled out lazy Sunday. But no, I had cleaning to do, I had readings to prepare for, I had this video to create. After all, this is my job and I do have deadlines to meet. And so I think when it comes to the Virgo Pisces axis, I think this axis brings up these themes, okay? We often try to balance our working life versus our switching off life. Now, for some of us, well, the tasks, they never stop. Our duties and our responsibilities, they pile up. They're constant. Some of us don't have an off switch. This can result in a lack of sleep. It can also lead to ill health. Then again, there are those of us who are used to working so often. There are people who willingly sign up to live a lifestyle where it's all work and no downtime. I mean, look at emergency service workers, for example, or look at parents, the lives of parents. I mean, parenting is a full-time job. Perhaps there are parents out there who so rarely get to recharge their batteries. Though on the other hand, there are people who don't want to work. There are people who would much rather prefer to avoid cleaning or helping out around the house, for example. Some people may have an illness that limits their ability to help or do things. There's people out there who are in bed all day, every day, because of how unwell they are. Perhaps they sleep and they take medication. Then there are those who struggle with addiction, people who live in an altered state of reality, and so they find it difficult to navigate within the their day-to-day life. They find it difficult to do those chores and to take on those daily responsibilities. Still, however, during this full moon in Virgo, perhaps it's about shining a light on your wellness, on your health, as well as on your ability to do. But at the same time, shining a light on times when you become a human doing rather than a human being. And this is actually something that my psychotherapist brings up often, is how we can often turn into human doings rather than human beings. Often we can get caught up in our day-to-day lives that we neglect our inner world. We don't take time to ourselves. We don't take time to switch off. Therefore, perhaps there are some things to let go of when it comes to doing here. I mean, I know for me, I am switching up my routine to something that's much more balanced. For the past 5 years, I have asserted so much of my time and my energy into creating YouTube videos, but moving forward, I'm easing up on the amount of videos that I upload. And so I am readjusting my priorities. And so in a way, I want to close a chapter during this full moon, a chapter in association with my routines and my schedules. And by closing this chapter, I am leaving myself open to embracing a new beginning, a new start. Moreover, I think these changes will help when it comes to my inner life. Of course, this is my own experience, but perhaps for you, you prioritize things a lot differently, and maybe you could use this full moon as an opportunity to prioritize things within your own life, so drawing from your own experiences. Like I said, perhaps it's also about recognizing the balance, okay? So kind of looking at where you sit on that scale between being this continuous human doing versus being somebody who is overly passive. So on that note, let's get into some examples. So let's say this full moon is taking place in your 5th house. So looking at your Taurus, sun, moon, and risings. Perhaps during this period, you consider your priorities and your routines when it comes to your romantic life or when it comes to your spare time. Perhaps there are things you would like to change or improve, or maybe you address your confidence when it comes to dating. Then again, perhaps you shine a light on the health of your children, or maybe you shine a light on your wellness when it comes to entertainment and fun. It could be that you reschedule your play and your leisure time, or maybe you close a chapter when it comes to perfectionism within love. Or perhaps you shed old skin when it comes to your tendency of picking your creativity apart. Or let's say this full moon is taking place in your 1st house, so looking at you Virgo, sun, moon, and risings. Perhaps during this period, you consider your priorities and your routines when it comes to your life path. This is very evident to me. I am completely reorganizing my life, the way I do things. I'm excited for it. Though Saturn transiting my 6th house also contributes to this, as it does for you Virgos out there. Then again, maybe you shine a light on your physical health, or perhaps you shine a light on your perfectionism characteristics. Or maybe you close a chapter when it comes to your schedules, or when it comes to your harsh inner critic. Or perhaps you shed old skin in association with the parts of your personality that can be quite passive or nervous or irritable. But then let's say this full moon is taking place in your 9th house. So looking at you Capricorn sun, moon and risings, perhaps during this period you consider your priorities and your routines when it comes to your higher education. Maybe you notice there are certain tweaks you would like to make, or maybe it's about reorganizing your schedules a little bit. Maybe such changes can make your life a lot easier. Or it could be that you shine a light on the honesty and reliability of your teachings. That is, if you are a teacher or if you're someone with an online presence. Though on the other hand, maybe you close a chapter when it comes to your beliefs. Perhaps you clean up a few things, or maybe you shed old skin in association with painstaking truths about yourself. Right, so the second thing that you need to know about this full moon in Virgo is that it will oppose both Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces when it takes place. Keeping in mind that Jupiter and Neptune will conjunct the Sun in Pisces, and they are at home here in this sign. Now, the great thing about these planets being in Pisces is that we can dream big. It has been an amazing time to visualize and imagine. There is so much potential to adapt and to readjust, to be flexible. And for those of us who are lucky enough to have some time alone, we can use this time to really sit with ourselves. We can use this time to release. And given that Mercury has also moved into Pisces recently, well, perhaps during this full moon, some of us journal, or maybe we escape, or we listen to our favorite music, or we go for a nice refreshing walk. Now, with that being said, we don't necessarily have to be alone in order to release. This brings me back to the point that Pisces energy is very much about inner stillness and inner peace. Basically suggesting here that we can still experience inner peace when we are working, or when we are doing, when we're doing the dishes, for example, or when we're on our morning run. Now, don't get me wrong, I also understand that our physical body needs to chill, needs to rest. We need good sleep, we need to recharge. I know for me, throughout Pisces season, I have been a lot more tired. I have felt a stronger urge to just take it a bit easier. But at the same time, I also think it's possible to do all of our day-to-day things whilst experiencing a sense of rest and ease from within. Maybe there are times when all we got to do is take a moment, take a moment to check in with ourselves, take a moment to breathe in deeply. Or maybe there are times when it's mind over matter, times when it is our mind that's running the show, and so we can slow down. Bring awareness to that, slow down. And again, looking at our breathing. Of course, it's a lot easier said than done here. Or we can step away for a moment and have a glass of water. Little things basically to help center us and help us feel relaxed. I know for many people, meditation helps, and meditation doesn't necessarily have to be where you sit still for 15 minutes. You can meditate and still be moving and doing things. At least that's what I think anyway. Then again, perhaps for others, it is challenging to feel still from within, okay? Maybe it feels like there is just too much going on. Or maybe, the mind, it just feels scattered, cluttered. Or maybe there are people who struggle with excessive worrying or anxiety. I mean, I know that I can worry far too much. And this is also partly why I'm making changes to my own routine. I'm going to start working out again, which I think will help me when it comes to my inner world as well. But yes, as I say, it's perhaps a lot easier said than done. It's not so black and white. It can be challenging to feel a sense of stillness from within, especially if we have so many things going on within our lives. But still, with Neptune and Jupiter opposing this full moon in Virgo, perhaps there is an element here of believing in the impossible, or maybe there's an element of revitalizing our energy, or experiencing renewal. But I mean this on a grand scale, seeing as Jupiter is coming into the equation. Moreover, there is a sense of optimism and hope. Perhaps we feel more uplifted and positive about these new transitions. So let's say this full moon is taking place in your 4th house. So looking at you Gemini, sun, moon and risings. This means Neptune and Jupiter and Pisces are transiting your 10th house. Perhaps during this period you release and you experience renewal when it comes to your public image, when it comes to your profession, but you also shed old skin in association with your home routines when it comes to schedules within the home. Maybe you shine a light on the health of your family, or you shine a light on your emotional well-being. And as you do so, you consider your professional life. You have been dreaming big when it comes to the things you would like to achieve in the world, but perhaps during this full moon, you close a chapter when it comes to emotional security. Or let's say this full moon is taking place in your 12th house. So looking at you Libra, sun, moon and risings, this means Neptune and Jupiter and Pisces, they are transiting your 6th house. Perhaps during this period, you release and you experience renewal when it comes to your spiritual life, but you also shed old skin in association with your daily practices and working responsibilities. Maybe you shine a light on your physical and or mental health, or you shine a light on wellness within work amongst your co-workers. And as you do so, you consider how you feel whenever you're behind the scenes. Perhaps you have been visualizing and imagining when it comes to retreating. But perhaps during this full moon, you close a chapter when it comes to being of service. Or let's say this full moon is taking place in your 8th house. So looking at you Aquarius, sun, moon and risings. This means Neptune and Jupiter and Pisces, they are transiting your 2nd house. Perhaps during this period, you release and you experience renewal when it comes to financial matters or when it comes to your earning potential, but you also shed old skin in association with your emotional transformations. I mean, I know for me, I am an Aquarius, my sun is an Aquarius, and I can relate to this very much so when it comes to the emotional transformations. But still, maybe you shine a light on your sexual health, or you shine a light on your mindset in relation to sexuality or in relation to intimacy and closeness. Again, I can very much relate to this information. And as you do so, you consider your physical body, so how your physical body feels, or you consider how secure you feel. Perhaps you have been adapting when it comes to your self-worth, but perhaps during this full moon, you close a chapter when it comes to how your psyche works. So the third thing that you need to know about this full moon in Virgo is that it will trine Pluto in Capricorn during it. Now, trines in astrology are harmonious. They can show a nice flow between the placements involved. There's a sort of smoothness. And in the case of Pluto in Capricorn, this is a great time to consider the small steps and how they contribute to longer achievements. By improving upon little things, the simple, smallest things day to day, we can transform in huge ways. It's like those habits. It's those physical habits we do day to day which can contribute to greater things later on. And so by making little changes here and there, of course, we can change and transform drastically. However, this is Pluto. And we might not like the truths that come up. We might not want to face the music. We might not want to do the internal hard work. We might feel exposed or vulnerable. Or we might feel scared, afraid of transforming, fearful of the unknown, afraid of the person we become when we break down our barriers or when we improve upon ourselves. I suppose this is the thing about self-improvement. It's not just about motivational speeches and chanting a message of "I love myself." Self-improvement can make us feel like we are being punched in the stomach. So much heaviness can come up. We can be triggered in terrifying ways. Our traumas and our projections can be highlighted, and we might not want to look at these things. Addressing our shadow can feel like we are betraying and deceiving ourselves. Oh yeah, internal work can be super challenging. But Just think of who you will be when you push past barriers or when you go beyond your limits. Think of the person you will become when you challenge yourself, even though you're afraid. Think of how you'll feel when you clean up your act and do the work. It's easier said than done, kind of the same thing I was saying earlier with the first point. It's easier said than done. I know it's not straightforward. It's not black and white. Our emotions are highly, highly complex. Transforming is a very complex thing. Looking at our shadow can be very daunting. But the point being, during this full moon in Virgo, perhaps there is a message of overcoming our internal limitations and obstacles in hopes of improvement. So, let's say this full moon is taking place in your 6th house. So looking at you, Aries, sun, moon, and risings. This means Pluto in Capricorn is transiting your 10th house. Maybe during this period, you overcome internal limitations and obstacles when it comes to your profession, but you also close a chapter when it comes to your diet, or when it comes to your routines, or when it comes to your fitness levels, or even when it comes to your productivity levels or your stress levels. And as someone who has an Aries moon, I relate to this greatly. I am transitioning when it comes to my profession, but I'm also wanting to improve upon my fitness levels. Moreover, I am wanting to improve upon the ways in which I view things like health and diet and fitness. Going through my own kind of internal battles there, which I won't get too much into detail about. Then again, maybe you shine a light on your overall health, okay? And during this full moon, you release things in association with your health, but you also come to terms with your long-term successes. You think about the long haul, or maybe you push yourself beyond your limits when it comes to the things that you wish to accomplish. Or let's say this full moon in Virgo is taking place in your 2nd house. So looking at you, Leo, sun, moon, and risings. This means Pluto in Capricorn is transiting your 6th house. And so perhaps during this period, you overcome internal limitations and obstacles when it comes to your day-to-day or when it comes to your well-being. But you also close a chapter in association with your finances and possessions. Or it could be that you shed old skin when it comes to your earning potential. And as you do this, you go through these transformations in association with the services you provide. Then again, maybe you shine a light on your self-worth during this full moon. You really breathe out when it comes to your value, but you also come to terms with your long-term investments. You think about sustainability and reliability. Or maybe you push yourself beyond your limits when it comes to potential financial achievements. The 4th thing that you need to know about this full moon in Virgo is that it will BiQuintile Saturn in Aquarius during it. Not to mention both Venus and Mars will conjunct Saturn in Aquarius as well. Now, this conjunction of Venus and Mars in Aquarius has been highlighting many love, relationship, and financial changes. And Saturn in Aquarius has been teaching us a great deal about maturity and responsibility and structure within our groups and alliances. And when it comes to biquintiles, well, they represent potential talents along with our desire to build upon things. Therefore, perhaps during this full moon, we consider how we practically contribute to the group, how we help and are of service to others, how we dedicate our time to the collective. Maybe it's about building upon stronger and more stable connections, or perhaps by creating small change, this creates bigger change. Then again, maybe we address the talents we bring to society, what our unique talents are. Maybe it's about continually practicing. Maybe we can use problem solving and critical thinking to help us build upon something long lasting. So on that note, let's say this full moon in Virgo is taking place in your 10th house. So looking at you, Sagittarius, sun, moon, and risings. This means Saturn in Aquarius is transiting your 3rd house. Perhaps during this period, you consider how you contribute to your siblings or to your neighbors or to your childhood friends. You address your dedication to such people, or maybe you address your daily interactions. But you also shine a light on your reputation and on your public image. Perhaps small changes you make amongst the public can contribute to bigger changes within your local area. Or quite possibly, these small changes contribute to bigger mindset changes. Or perhaps thinking critically about your profession, well, this can help you build upon something long-lasting when it comes to your studies. Then again, maybe you shed old skin in association with your career path, and this gives you an opportunity to explore communicative or educational talents. Or let's say this full moon is taking place in your third house, so looking at you Cancer, Sun, Moon and risings. This means Saturn in Aquarius is transiting your 8th house, and so perhaps during this period you consider how you contribute to your intimate relationships, and when it comes to also emotional bonding, maybe you address your dedication to those that you are intimate with, or you address potential fears in association with intimacy. Then again, maybe you address traumas or lack of connection, but you also shine a light on how you communicate and interact with others. Maybe small changes you make within your daily interactions, they can contribute to bigger transformations you experience with those closest to you. Then again, perhaps you shed old skin in association with how you process information, okay? How you take in information. And this gives you an opportunity to explore sexual or emotional talents. And the fifth and final thing that you need to know about this full moon in Virgo taking place on the 18th of March 2022 is that it will trine the North Node in Taurus during it. And like I said, trines are harmonious, okay? They can show a nice smoothness, a flow between the placements involved. And so in the case of the North Node in Taurus, this is a great time to consider the growth you want to make when it comes to things like value, sensuality, money, security, loyalty, and so on. This North Node in Taurus energy has been ushering in a much more holding and supportive energy. But at the same time, with Uranus being in Taurus, we are thinking more outside the box, okay? We are marching to the beat of our own drum and we are exploring alternatives. Therefore, perhaps during this full moon, we look at what we are doing in order to grow, in order to go beyond what is known and familiar. We consider how we can adjust and adapt so that we can move towards something supporting, grounding, and holding. Now, with the moon trine Pluto in Capricorn and trine the North Node in Taurus, and then with the North Node in Taurus trine Pluto in Capricorn, there is a grand Earth trine activation here. Sure, the North Node isn't a planet, but there is still a trine being activated during this full moon, okay? It's an Earth trine activation. Well, an Earth grand trine activation. Therefore, there is such an emphasis on the material and physical. There is something so rewarding about achieving tangible results. But at the same time, there is so much Pisces energy going on. There is a Pisces stellium happening, meaning there is a reflective and introspective energy playing out as well. This sort of balance between the inner and outer worlds, creating an opportunity for us to dream and be grounded at the same time. And with the moon making a BiQuintile to Saturn, we can focus and we can concentrate, provided we don't get swept up in emotional chaos and delusion. Then again, perhaps we can explore the chaos. Maybe there is something therapeutic about wishing for something that feels so completely unrealistic, or maybe being delusional has its benefits too. Who knows? Perhaps there are people who are happy in their state of delusion. They feel content, and surely it's our delusions that can help us cope with the world. And we can all have those moments where we can be quite delusional in some way. Still, during this full moon, we consider growth when it comes to physical and tangible matters. So let's say this full moon is taking place in your 11th house. So looking at you Scorpio, sun, moon and risings, this means the North Node in Taurus is transiting your 7th house. Perhaps during this period, you address physical growth within your one-on-one relationships, but you also shine a light on your hopes and wishes for the future. It could be that you clean a few things up, or you adjust, or you solve problems. Maybe you want to feel grounded with your partner, or maybe you want to experience a holding energy between you both. But in order to help you do this, you shed old skin in association with future directions. Then again, perhaps you close a chapter when it comes to friendships or when it comes to alliances. And as you do, there is a desire to seek out secure and valuable relationships. Or let's say this full moon in Virgo is taking place in your 7th house. So looking at you Pisces, sun, moon and risings, this means the North Node in Taurus is transiting your 3rd house. Perhaps during this period, you address physical growth within your daily interactions with others, but you also shine a light on your one-on-one relationships. It could be that you mend a few things within your relationships, or it could be that you consider your typical patterns within them. Maybe you want to experience more genuine and holding connections, but in order to do this, you shed old skin in association with how you start relationships. Then again, perhaps you close a chapter when it comes to your shadow side. And as you do this, there is a desire to learn something that is valuable and worthwhile. Now, I do just want to say quickly here that the moon will be void, of course, just 1 hour after it takes place, and it will be void, of course, for about 3 hours or so. Therefore, during this 3-hour period, okay, after this full moon has taken place, make sure you get some rest, okay? If you can, that is. Full moons and new moons are typically known for being an emotionally charged time. Some people can feel especially tired, others may experience insomnia, but essentially here, okay, just make sure that you are checking in with yourself. Okay then, Cosmic Warriors, so that concludes my video talking about the 5 things that you need to know about this full moon in Virgo taking place on the 18th of March 2022. Now again, if you have other things that you think others need to know about this full moon, let us know in the comment section down below. And also, I do hope that you found this video to be helpful and useful. But on that note, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And of course, if you would like to see more videos from myself and you have not yet subscribed, then make sure that you click that subscribe button, and also give this video a like if you did like it today. And I will be back with another video very, very soon. Bye!